Welcome everyone to the live. Just gonna do a little late night live right now, and as y'all know, um, my channel is mostly about firearm. It's about everything that I like to do. Lately, I've started enjoying doing a lot of commentary on just the election that just passed, all the things that make up the election with President Trump. Well, soon to be elected President Donald Trump. I like the fact that he's slowly fleshing out his cabinet that he's going to use to kind of fix our country. I'm super excited to see what the upcoming years look like and what the economy is going to look like. I do have faith that President Trump is going to fix a lot of the ailments that the United States is going through. And speaking of, confidence and and trust that President Trump is going to do a good job. First and foremost, I definitely want to thank God. I want to thank Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior, for giving me the strength to do anything that I do. I declare him in front of the world. So when it is his turn to declare me in front of his Father, I am there. Now, with that said, guys, let's get into it. Now, as you guys can tell by the topic now, I personally think, hey Spider, what's up? Welcome to the live, man. Appreciate you. Thank you for joining. Tango, what's up? Welcome. Appreciate you coming in, man. Thanks for joining the live. I wanted to create a healthy discussion, and why I really wanted to do this video is I think the major reason why the Democratic Party, appreciate you, man. Thank you very much. Thank you for liking, man. Thanks for jumping in. One of the major reasons why the Democratic Party lost the election was because of immigration. We're gonna delve into that. We're gonna watch a couple of videos. I don't know how long the live's gonna last. It's just gonna last until I'm finished discussing the point. As people go in, if you guys want to chime in, give me your ideas on why do you guys think the Democratic Party lost, whether it's because of immigration, whether, hey RJ, welcome, man. I appreciate you, man. Thank you very much. Thank you for the subscription, man. Before I go on, guys, my channel is mostly, well, it is still mostly geared towards firearms. I'm a huge 2A advocate. I have a ton load of firearms. If you check some of my earlier videos, I used to have a channel before. I had about 45,000 subscribers. I got into law enforcement, and so I kind of shut down my channel. What I should have did was suspended it. I ended up deleting my channel. Think it would have a negative effect on me going into law enforcement. It never did, and so I'm kind of like starting back over the channel. Now I'm not really in law enforcement anymore. I'm actually in the process of switching, pretty much switching career. I'm going in the healthcare field. I know that sounds crazy, but yeah. So my channel is pretty much it's anything that I find interesting. Mostly mostly firearms and such. But lately I've been getting into a lot of political stuff. I think later on in my life I'm probably going to pursue a political career. And so I think having a channel like this is like a great start. But yeah, if you guys think other than immigration that there's something else that you think might have contributed to the Democratic Party's downfall or loss in this year's presidential election, feel free to throw it in there in the comments and let's discuss it. For me, I really think that the whole process of the illegal immigration is the main reason why they lost the election. And if you guys agree with me, feel free to say agree. If not, give me your reason why. So the fact that we started having an open border, I think, was the downfall of the Democratic Party. And obviously, that President Trump, when he ran for election, when he ran for the presidency, to conclude his 45th term, one of the major points that he used, and I think he knew that at the point of time, the people wanted a secure border. Because if you guys can remember back then, he pushed, he's going to build a wall, and he's going to let China pay for it. Sorry, Mexico paid for it. And he said that throughout the whole time he campaigned for his presidency. And I think he's very passionate about the wall. And to be honest with you, China has a wall. I mean, a lot of countries have walls. A lot of them are physical walls. A lot of them are imaginary walls. A lot of them are lines and ridges, mountain ridges and such. So, how they divide a lot of countries is through ridges. Like, for instance, in Haiti and the Dominican Republic, it's divided by a mountain. The Great Wall of China is divided by a wall. The United States-Mexico border, a wall. So that wall is significant in that it's a physical thing. Sometimes it's not so much of a physical thing. It could be something else. It could be a line. It could be a fence. It could be physically a wall. But it gives that country or those people a sense of difference and likeness at the same time. That we are we and you are you. And I know it sounds segregated the way it sounds, but it is what it is. The same reason when you go to a soccer game or a football game, you feel like it's us among against them. It gives you that sense of, yes, we're all the same, we're all humans, but we're different because you're Dominican and I'm Haitian. If you ask any Asian, hey, are you Dominican? Are you Dominican? Oh my God, what do you mean? Am I Dominican? If you ask any Dominican, are you? I mean, Asians, if they're Dominican, oh my God, no. What do you mean? If I'm Haitian? People don't like it. It sounds some type of way, but nobody wants to say, oh. Even when people ask me, hey, are you Haitian? I'm like, no, I'm not Haitian. I don't feel bad, but I'm like, no, I'm Jamaican. So that wall is there for a reason. It's there for the protection of the people. It's there for security. And so I think Donald Trump knew that building a wall was going to be a huge issue. And to be honest with you, I personally think that this is the reason why the Democratic Party lost the election. Number one, the United States have had many enemies over the years. We have enemies within, and we have enemies in foreign country. We have enemies from China. We have enemies from you name the part of the country where we've had any military conflict. We have enemies there. And the concept of having an open border without even vetting anyone and just flooding the border day after day after day for the last 3 or 4 years is just unheard of. First of all, Poland is not doing that. You know what I mean? Even in England, yes, they're pretty much open to everyone, but there's an amount to which you can come in. You know what I mean? China is not doing that. Even in Jamaica, you can go there and get residency, but you have to be vetted. So I just don't understand why the Democratic Party think that it was okay to come in and open up the border and bring so many people in. And I think the American people, when they saw this, I think it was a slap in their face. Now, I've been in the United States since 1998. And since I've been here, I went to college here, and after my 4 years of college, I competed in track and field, and then I paid my taxes. I've worked my ass off. A lot of times I've worked in this country to the point where I get up in the morning and I sit on the side of my bed and I sit there for like 5-10 minutes contemplating if I'm going to even go to work that day, or if I'm going to quit, or if I'm going to knock my boss out, or whatever the case might be. And obviously I'm not going to knock my boss out, but you know what I mean? But the point I'm trying to make is so many people have paid into our system, into the tax system where, you get your paycheck, they tax the crap out of it. Everything you buy thereafter, they tax the crap out of that. All your hard-earned money, you're like, where the hell did that money go? And I think that the fact that, the Democratic Party, flooded this country with so many of our enemies. And don't get me wrong, I'm going to play this video. I know there's a lot of people in a lot of parts of the world that are going through a hard time right now. And I know it looks very enticing for them to say, hey, I'm going to go to the United States and make a better life. But I'm going to be honest with you. People, yes, this is a country of opportunity, but at the same time, people that are here are going through their own hardship, And yes, when you compare life in the United States with the life in a lot of people in other countries, it's not the same. It might be a little bit harder. For some people, it might be harder. Some people, it might be easier, because I'm from Jamaica, where, we have a lot of produce there. things are expensive, but not super expensive. You know, you can get a little food from your neighbor. You can get a little yam from your neighbor. You can get a little this. You can buy a little bit of meat kind here, a little meat kind there, and you can live a pretty decent life. Here in the United States, nothing is handed to you. Nothing is handed to you besides what the government give you. Now, if you get lucky and you get food stamps or Medicaid or some kind of government assistance, that's okay. But besides that, majority of the people in the United States don't get that help. They have to pay their bills. No matter where that money is coming from, they have to pay their bills. And I think a lot of the people in the United States think that it was truly a slap in the face. Now look at this picture on the screen. Those are thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of people leaving their country. And I understand, you know. I'm doing good, man, Maki. Thanks for joining, man. Appreciate you. I'm good. You left a little early last time, man. We had some sweet discussion. But thanks for joining again. Anyways, so I'm going to play this video right now. You can see where so many, like hundreds of thousands of people are leaving their homes. And they're walking and they're risking, going through the clutches of the cartel just to come to the United States. But I'm going to be honest with you, man. Some of them are better off staying in their country. A lot of them, think about this. A lot of them are going to leave their homes, their families, their jobs for an uncertainty right now. And that's what they've done for the past 3.5 to 4 years, is left their homes, come to the United States. And yes, some are lucky enough to where they can find jobs or where they've been provided for. And I'm going to get to that in a minute. But, they've left their country of origin, left their homes. And I guarantee once they've left their homes there, those homes, when they go back, are not going to be the same. They're going to be people squatting there. They're going to be, drug houses. They're going to be prostitution brothels. Because you leave that much open space in a country, you're asking for the crime rate to be even worse. You know what I mean? And then to come to the United States thinking that, hey, it's a land of opportunity. Yes, it is. But when you're vetted properly, when you're properly, implanted in the system, gradually, when you pay your dues, when you show that, somebody is willing to sponsor you, that you have a job placement. But just to come into the country and just wander the streets and hope that the government gives you some handout, like, that's absurd to think that you're going to come here and live this great life. Not only that, but when there's millions of people coming into the country thinking that, what are you going to do? Everybody's going to come here, get a house, get a job, and, and just, get stuff from the government. Absolutely not. It's just like, it's mind blowing for me to think that, people can think that they're just going to come here and everything is going to be set in place. Or for the Democratic Party to think that they can host this many people. How are you going to go host this many families, this many people, this many, young babies, and provide for them, provide jobs for them? There's people in the United States who already live here who can't even find jobs. You know what I mean? And granted, there are a lot of jobs here that a lot of Americans aren't working, but not to the point where 10 million people can come in and fill those positions. You know what I mean? So, and not only that, what President Trump, was really concerned about is not the people coming in seeking asylum, and, running away from a country like Venezuela where, the gangs are just terrible. And shout out to the Venezuelan president. He's doing an amazing job for keeping all those gang members off the streets, and when they go in, they ain't never coming out. And so that's more reason to believe that a lot of these gang members are here in the United States. We see it on the news where the same TDA gang, Tren de Agua, are taking over a lot of communities. I just don't understand how law enforcement in those areas are allowing this to happen. I live in Miami, Florida, and there's just the state of Florida. That can't happen. That won't happen. There's no way, no Tren de Agua is going to come to you in Miami or Florida and perform that stunt. We in terms of firearms, everybody owns a gun here. You know what I mean? And nobody's gonna put up with that. You knock on my door and you have a long gun in your hand and you're not the police, we're gonna go to war. And I'm definitely not, suggesting that that's what people should do, because a lot of these places, a lot of these places where Tren de Agua has a hold on these on the citizens there. I'm not sure if all of them are American or not. So a lot of them could be squatters, but they're immigrants themselves, because a lot of these gangs are not going to try to pull that off in a lot of suburban places. Yes, they'll commit robberies and crimes and such like that, but they will never walk. Like, you see that video where they're just going from door to door, knocking at door, harassing people, extorting them. That wouldn't happen in Miami. That wouldn't happen in Florida. Everybody here, is strapped. Everybody here will fight back, And so, I really think that the illegal immigration was the reason why it was the downfall of the Democratic Party. I felt like they gave it so much, and I guess they were trying to, flood the country with millions of people. In their mind, they must have thought that this place was going to have 20 million people. They were going to vote for the Democratic Party. They were going to give them asylum, give them, a license, and get them jobs, and they were going to vote for the Democratic Party, put them in power so they can, I guess, rule again for another 4 years with Kamala Harris. And so that didn't work. I think the American people saw that. They were paying their taxes, and they were like, yo, how come I'm paying my taxes and I'm seeing where these people are just, flooding into our country, and then they're getting PlayStations, they're staying in hotels, they're getting a stipend every month. And how are you affording to pay these people all this money? I even watched one video in New York where the migrants were coming out and pushing reporters and saying, you know what, we need them, we need more money because we're running out of money. We need food. They're demanding things, from the government in New York. And they've never worked a day here in the United States. I've been here for over, almost going on 28, 25 years now, and I don't get any government assistance. If I'm late on my mortgage and I call, my bank, and I said to them, hey, listen, man, I'm going to be, for the next 6 months, I need a break. How do you think that's going to work out for me? And then when Americans see that on the news every day, it's being thrown in our face. The border is not secure. The border is not secure. They're flooding in. Not only are they going across the border, they're busing them in. They're flying them in. That takes resources, and that resources come from regular American, pockets. And just the American people just saw that. And they saw that the Democratic Party didn't really have their backs, because we're struggling, to pay off school loans. We're struggling to find food to eat. We're struggling to pay our own bills. And here you are, flooding the country with millions of immigrants. You know what I mean? And then not only that, you're giving them food stamps. You're giving them, a stipend. You're giving them money. They're running amok across different states. You're taking resources from, states who actually need it and who were begging for it before, and you denied them, and then gave these immigrants all that money, the sanctuary cities, all that stipend, hotels, PlayStation 5s. It was just too much. And I think the American people thought it was a slap in the face. And they were just like, you know what? Nah, we're not going to do that. Obviously, there are other issues why, Democratic Party lost the election, the stupid spending, the celebrity that Kamala Harris constantly was just using to push her agenda, her constantly, calling Donald Trump names, that he's a misogynist, he's a sexist, he's a rapist, he's a criminal, he's a Nazi. It got to the point where I think the American people was like, you know what? We've heard enough. It's one thing to call somebody, a racist or a Nazi, but if you can't prove that that person are those things, and you keep repeating it over and over and over, then at some point in time, people are just going to get sick of that rhetoric, and they're going to say, all right, if you don't prove that this man is a racist, or if you can't prove that this man is a Nazi, if you can't prove that this man is such and such and such a thing, then after a while, it just becomes, foolishness. And I think people are just like, you know what, we just don't want to deal with that anymore. They gave her multiple opportunities, to come out and tell the American people, what she was about, and she failed to do that. Every time they ask her about the border, she's filibustering, she's talking about something else that we don't even care about. And so she never really made a stake as to what she was really about. Even if she had said, you know what, the border, you know, I was the border czar, or I am the border czar, you know, and I know that, you know, I was new to the job. I didn't really know what I was doing, you know, and now running as president, I really want to secure the border because I feel now I see the folly of my ways and I want to change. She didn't even say that. She just kept sticking to it. Oh, I've been to the border. And then she has no pictures of her ever being at the border. Even when she was at the border, she was there for like 15 minutes, then she was gone. It was more like a photo op. You know, it just shows that she's fake. And the fact that she got $1 billion, you know, to spend on the election, and now she's $20 million in debt, just, you know, it just further proves that, you know, you weren't going to lead this country into any prosperity. You weren't going to lead this country into anything positive. You were going to keep the floodgates open. You know, immigrants were going to flood our cities. And let me say this, guys. When a lot of these immigrants come here and they can't find jobs, there's no more money to give them. Now they're closing down sanctuary cities. You know what I mean? They're closing down shelters for immigrants. What are these people going to start doing, guys? When they can't find jobs and President Trump not giving them any more money, because he's not going to give them. He's going to start rounding them up. When they're getting hungry and their kids are getting hungry, where do you think these people are going to start going? Mark my words, you're going to see a lot more squatting in the United States. You're going to see a lot more home invasions. You're going to see a lot more conflicts between, you know, immigrants and American. And I don't want to, you know, spread any discord or anything, but it's common sense. You can't feed these people. You can't provide jobs for them. You can't provide food for them. Everybody wants the security for their family. That's the reason why these people are leaving. When they leave their country and they come here and they have nowhere to sleep, no food to eat, no money, what do you think they're going to start doing? They're going to start robbing, stealing, extorting, commit more crimes. They're going to come knocking at your door, and I don't mean like, you know, a shoe salesman. They're going to be coming to knock down your door. So a lot of times, you know, when the Democratic Party was pushing, you know, Trump is this, Trump is that, she should have secured the border. You know what I mean? Because Americans are thinking, you're talking about your LGBT movement, you're talking about your whole woke movement, your joy movement, you're talking about, you know, all this kind of stuff that we don't care about. You're talking about, oh, you know, these people need the opportunity. Yes, they can get the opportunity if they come through the border and are vetted the right way. A small opening, and you vet them. You weed out the bad apples. You bring people who really want to come to this country and do well. But if you don't, then the floodgate is open. Everybody from all over the world, all our enemies, people who actually really want asylum, you know, who are really seeking a better for their family. But we're letting in all the criminals, all the Hamas members now who've been fleeing from the conflict in Israel and Palestine. Where do you think some of them are now? All those gangs from Tren de Agua, all those criminals that were locked up and released in Venezuela, and they don't want to, you know, and they don't want to stay there because they know if they get caught, they're stuck there. Where do you think they are now? In this country. You know what I mean? A lot of them, with last year I saw where they were running scams with cell phones, you know, credit card machines. Like, you know, this is the reason why she lost. I think this was the major reason why she lost. Anyways, I just want to show you how many people were trying to get to the United States. And if Kamala Harris was president, this is what we would have been in store for.
Estamos saliendo de Tapachula porque de verdad sabemos que la frontera sí se está poniendo lo que es un poco más peligroso, y a motivo de eso, a que no tenemos seguridad y aparte no tenemos una oportunidad de trabajo, hemos recorrido para poder caminar a un lugar donde nos podamos conseguir una nueva oportunidad de trabajo y podamos salir adelante nosotros con nuestra familia.
Pues hemos decidido emigrar, como le digo yo, porque en nuestro país pues no hay trabajo.
And I want to say, guys, my heart goes out for a lot of these people, man. A lot of these people, you know, they're good people. I know that. I'm not saying all immigrants are bad, you know, but whether they're good people or not, the numbers in which they're coming into our country can't be sustained. It cannot be sustainable. That would have, like, I mean, it's still going to have a negative ramification on this country. And the Democratic Party, they're lucky they're leaving, because when President Trump say, hey, all that free food is over, everything free is done, it is through Donald Trump's presidency, you're going to see a lot of outbreaks. You're going to see a lot of, criminal activities, because he's going to start rounding them up. And once they're going to start getting rounded up, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to start getting violent. They're going to start hiding. They're going to start doing whatever it takes not to get caught. They're going to, when they can't make any money, they're going to resort to a lot of illegal activities. And I'm not saying all of them. A lot of them, I'm pretty sure, are willing to say, hey, I want the opportunity to come back, so I'm going to choose to leave, legally, and put my name in whatever system Donald Trump has to bring back some of them. Because I don't think that, I mean, at least for the first 2 years, I don't think anybody's gaining any entry in this country, because the goal is for him to empty out some of that 10 million plus people back to their country. And I do sympathize with a lot of these people, because a lot of them have a hard life. You know what I mean? They really do. And I do sympathize. I don't want to sound like I'm against, immigrants. I'm an immigrant myself. But you have to be vetted the right way. You have to come through, the right ports the right way, do it the right way, pay your dues. Just leaving the border open just leaves us to, a lot of criminal elements. And so I do sympathize with these people, man. I really honestly do. But, but it's just not sustainable.
No hay solución. A veces tenemos negocios y nuestros negocios pues no nos funcionan por el bienestar mismo del trabajo.
Look at that. Look at that, guys. Look at the number of people. And that's every day. That's every day. Now imagine the resources it takes to sustain people in America. Imagine the resources, the additional resources it's going to take to sustain that amount of people that are crossing the border on a daily basis. Where are we going to get the money? Look at the homeless crisis in California, Chicago, endless cities across the nation. Where are these people going to get the help that they need, the jobs that they need? They're coming over here with their families. A lot of them aren't poor people. You look at some of them, they're well-to-do people. You know what I mean? Where are these people going to get jobs? Whether you believe it or not, there's not enough jobs for regular Americans. And I know there's a lot of jobs immigrants are willing to do. The impact it'll have on our economy for American citizens is also pretty bad. Because yes, they're going to come in, they're going to be cheap labor, they're going to work under the table, but then they're going to undermine the jobs for American people. And you just can't do that. Because if you're a citizen, it's citizens first, then everybody next. And I know it sounds some type of way, but it is what it is. If I'm a citizen and I'm paying my tax, and I've been paying my taxes for years, I deserve first dibs and everything before any immigrant. You know what I mean? And unless that immigrant actually, was vetted and came here and they have the same opportunities as a citizen have, then so be it. But for these people to just come in and, lower the price of jobs, and so Americans, they feel it, then that can't be right. That's a lot of people to maintain. That's a lot of resources that we don't even have for our own citizens, and so, I don't really know how President Trump is gonna, really, quarterback this mass deportation, but I'm pretty sure he's gonna start with a lot of on-site jobs. I'm pretty sure there's gonna be some kind of, patrol system, National Guards the National Guards, they're gonna earn their pay this year. The next few years, the National Guards, they are going to earn their pay, because, they're going to be used a lot in conjunction with local law enforcement in the different cities and area to round up a lot of these immigrants. And I know they're going to use a lot of scare tactics to get them to come, hey, come to the airports or come to the borders, you'll be returned back to your country and, put in a lottery or something like that. They're going to use some way of getting it because you can't just use brute force to find all these people. Imagine all these people in a line scatter right now. Are you going to, if you're law enforcement and you have 200 police officers, I was 200 police officers going to round up all these people you can see on your screen? It's going to be impossible. You got to give them some incentive to go back home and then and possibly be chosen to come back in the country legally. So this was, I think personally, the immigration crisis is the reason why the Democratic Party lost, because it's widespread, it's far-reaching. It's not just open border and national security. I mean, it's that too, but it's other things. There's other things that you don't see that it affects. It's the crime rate. It's a strain on the economy. It's the American people feeling like, why are they getting help and not us when I've been paying all my taxes? It didn't sit well with American citizens at all. And not only that, there was this talk of, they want to bring in a new demographic, a new, the Spanish vote. You know what I mean? And black folks were like, oh yeah, we served you guys so long. Now you just want to throw us to the side and bring in a whole new, a whole new list of people. Not that we don't have, Hispanics here, but we're talking about the migrant Hispanics that are coming in. They wanted that to be their new base so they can, build the ranks again, so to speak. And, it wasn't happening. I think that left a bad taste, in a lot of amounts of a lot of African Americans. And I think, that's why Donald Trump was able to sway the votes his way. And, and I think that's what led to the election. Honestly, I think Trump was going to win anyways. So I don't think it mattered what she does if she at the border. Well, at the border helped him win, but I don't think there's anything she could have said. It's just that she never gave us anything to really, make us believe that she was going to be a strong president or even a good president. She had nothing to talk about. The things that made sense, she stole from him, and the things that she spoke about, future taxing future gains, corporate tax, among other stupid stuff. You weren't gonna. And then she didn't even sound like she was convinced. She sounded like she was just winging it. It's just so sad that she had $1 billion, to use to get the brightest mind in her cabinet and advisor, and that was the best idea she could come up with. I'm just disappointed. Now let's just hear what some of these people are saying.
Más personas no hay compra para negocio.
And like I said, a lot of these people, man, they're good people, and I really don't think that, they mean the United States any harm. But at the same time, there are those who do, and it is what it is. We're just going to watch another video, have another little bit more discussion. Sorry about the commercial. I'm using my TV. I'm waiting for my camera to come in. So for now, we're just going to do it.
Focus to the southern border with Mexico, where hundreds of migrants are abandoning their journey towards the United States. The caravan, which began earlier this week with around 3,000 migrants, has now dwindled to just half after Donald Trump.
Yeah, so the fact that Donald Trump, won, I think these people are saying, hey, listen, man, appreciate it, man. Thank you. All right, Maki, I know you got to go. It's all good, man. Thank you for always jumping in on the stream. Appreciate you. And since Donald Trump won, obviously that's going to alleviate a lot of the stress on the border because they know that Donald Trump is not playing. They know that Tom Homan, who is pretty much a new border czar, is not playing any games with anybody. So a lot of them are heading back home. And I think, honestly, it is in their best interest to go back home. Why leave your country where you have somewhere to sleep? Yes, it might be a little bit dangerous. I grew up in a very bad neighborhood in Jamaica, and yes, it was bad, but I had a roof over my head. The criminal elements there, they didn't prey on me, you know what I mean? Because I could go anyway. I could be a gangster too. You know what I mean? I think it was one way or the other for me. It just happened that, God had it that He wanted me to be in a different position, but I could go one way or another, in my life, I don't have the tendency for violence, but if it's necessary, then, I'm not going to be a victim to no gang member. I'm going to be honest with you, man. You know, I'm gonna fight and defend my home, my family and my friends. That's what I'm gonna do. You know, but a lot of these migrants are heading back home, which is it's actually a good thing. I'm not like I said before. I can't keep reiterating. You know, but you know, it's best to go home. You know, where you have your home, you have your family, you have school. People are gonna come here and they're gonna miss years of school for their children. You know, I think they should just go back home, do it the right way, and try to come back again. You know what I mean? And go from there. So let's just hear what they gotta say.
Won re-election.
We wanted to get to the United States. Now that Trump won, we do not know what to do. May it be God's will, since we are taking this course, that we have to arrive, even if it is to knock on the door, to see if they open it for us. I don't know what to do anymore, because we left a very terrible regime. Returning to Venezuela is like being shot in the head.
And I understand what a lot of these people are going through, but it's the misinformation. The Democratic Party make it look like this was the land of, you know, milk and honey. Just come knock on the door, all is welcome. That was Kamala's, you know, theme back in the days. You know, a couple of years ago, she was like, come here, one and all is welcome. But they didn't tell you that, hey, come here, it's going to be hard. You know, it's not going to be as easy. Yes, you might not have people shooting at you every day like the gangs in Venezuela, but it's not a bed of roses here.
Donald Trump doesn't like Latinos. Donald Trump said he was going to remove all Latinos from the United States.
Another misinformation. Donald Trump doesn't like Latinos, but yet still, he got a ton load of Latino votes. Donald Trump think that Puerto Rico is a garbage dump. Then he still won Puerto Rico. He got a lot of Puerto Rican votes. It's just the disinformation and misinformation that the Democratic parties and, you know, all the groupies of the Democratic Party, the MSNBCs of the news world, they just spread this lie that he doesn't like Latinos. You know, yet till he still wins Florida.
Of deportation. So now it's going to be harder to get in. There are going to be new laws, new regulations, new rules, and now it's going to be harder for us Latinos to get there.
Not just Latinos, my friend. It's going to be harder for everybody to get in. He doesn't dislike Latinos. He dislikes an open border. That's it.
In his winning speech, the president-elect reiterated his commitment to seal the borders, insisting that only legal immigration would be allowed. The president-elect's plan could further impose limitations on Biden-era programs like humanitarian parole and temporary protected status that temporarily allow some migrants to remain in the United States.
Yeah, so, you know, obviously that could be one thing where some people are allowed to remain, but like, come on, man, 10 to 12 million people, that's a lot of resources, man. That's a lot of resources for just a bunch of illegal immigrants.
Needs help, and it needs help very badly. We're going to fix our borders. We're going to fix everything about our country. And we made history for a reason.
For migrants who use social media platforms like Telegram to track the U.S. immigration policies, the election outcome has dampened their hopes severely. Several expressed frustration, with some saying that had there been a woman president like Claudia Sheinbaum,
and to see a lot of these people with just backpacks on their back, you know what I mean, walking towards the border. Like, these people left all their possessions, cars, furniture, like TV, video games, whatever is valuable to them to come here. So I sympathize that a lot of these people are leaving a lot behind. They'd rather leave all that stuff behind and take their chances in the United States. But I think that they were grossly misled by the Democratic Party to believe that, again, like I said, it was a land of milk and honey. Because I'm telling you, I live here. I've been living here. There ain't no milk and honey here. You know what I mean? The government's always trying to cut your throat and take your money. Credit card companies are always, you know, trying to keep you under their thumbs. Housing, you know, housing developments and, you know, all these housing People that companies that build homes are trying to keep you in the longest mortgage they can at the highest rate possible. You know what I mean? It's just like it's not that easy living here. You know, everybody here is always stressed. Stress and heart disease is the #1 killer in the United States. You know, so I don't think it's a bed of roses, but you know, they think so, but hey.
Lives would take a different trajectory.
Mi opinión acerca de las elecciones.
I want
Now, a woman president don't mean crap. That's just like saying, oh, having a black president is going to be better for us. Barack Obama came in and he was one of the worst presidents. So having a female president don't mean anything. I don't think that this woman was going to be any different. I don't think she would have garnered the respect from the international community that Donald Trump would have been. I don't think Kamala Harris would have been any great president. She had $1 billion to spend on her campaign, and she's $25 million in debt. Nah, she couldn't run the country. She wouldn't have done anything. And this lady's talking, she has no idea what she's talking about.
That had there been a woman president like Claudia Sheinbaum, their lives would take a different trajectory.
Nope.
Mi opinión acerca de las elecciones.
I wanted them to elect a woman in the United States elections just
Nobody
as we
cares
did
what you
here.
want.
That way they would have seen eye to eye because Mr. Trump is arbitrary, misogynist, racist.
You see, she's talking about Mr. Trump is a misogynist, racist. Where? Prove to me that. And this is what they all talk about. This is the misinformation that they're given. You know, she thinks that he's a misogynist. What misogynist? How? Where's the proof? You know what I mean? Where's the proof that he's a racist? Not when Al Sharpton. When Jesse Jackson ran for president the black man that ran for president back in the early 80s, who you think fronted it? Donald Trump. He paid for the whole campaign. Look it up. It's facts. He gave out loan to a ton load of African American families and didn't even collect on it. So I don't know where they're getting this racist rhetoric from. That they should just stop.
Misógino, racista.
She don't know
Now,
what you're
throughout
talking
the
about.
Campaign, Donald Trump vowed to complete his border wall and deport millions of illegal immigrants. He's even promised to hire an additional 10,000 Border Patrol agents and impose tougher restrictions on
Yeah.
asylum.
Start spending back money on Americans and American jobs to revitalize the economy, secure the border, put these people back in their country and let them come back the legal way. Don't see anything wrong with that.
In order to meet the goal of hiring 10,000 new agents, we need the agents. We need them badly. And keeping our incredible veteran agents on the force. Don't leave us.
A post-election YouGov survey shows that Donald Trump has the support of 53% of Americans on immigration matters, compared to just
53%. That's what she couldn't understand. Immigration was a huge issue, and she couldn't see it. All that cackling and laughing and giggling all the time, you know, the transgender movement, the he too, me too, she too stupid movement, you know, she let all the important things fly right by her, like a little butterfly. You know what I mean? And she was just busy, you know, with these twerkers and all these entertainers who aren't even poor, who African-Americans don't know or don't like. You know what I mean? So she caused it.
5% for Vice President Kamala Harris. As of now, the reality for migrants remains uncertain as they weigh their next steps, with many deciding to give up on their chances of crossing into the United States.
Hello and welcome to this special edition of Vantage, live from the White House. America is Trump country again. He will be the 47th president of the United States of America. They're live from the White House, soon to be the new residence of Donald Trump.
Absolutely.
It was also here that Donald Trump brokered the Abraham Accords. So the voters have a legitimate question in their minds. If those presidents could do it, why not Joe Biden? The Arab voters want to punish the Democrats for supporting Israel. Joe Biden's shadow looms large over this election, and Kamala Harris may end up paying the price for it. This Trump hat, it says, President Trump Save America. But this hat is made in China. And this is the Chinese interference that Americans must be investigating. But of late, Donald Trump and the Republicans have made some gains. And the biggest reason for that is illegal immigration. This is more than just a march, they say. This is a demand for accountability. The excitement, the tension is palpable. You can see the security presence. You can see the number of police cars, government buildings like these again fenced up. We're at Harvard University, the alma mater of Kamala Harris. As the night progressed, numbers came in thick and fast, and Donald Trump was soon declared the winner. It's been called a historic comeback. Another American presidency will begin. In Donald Trump's case, his second one.
So she just showed a bunch of little clips that showed that immigration was very important. Kamala Harris didn't see it. Donald Trump did. He knew that that was something that the American people wanted. She thought that the majority of Americans wanted to vote on, women rights, and transgenders and this and that and all the other, which are a very small portion of what voters even care about. She was so not in tune with the voters. She's so not in tune with Americans to the point where it blinds her, or it blinded her and cost her the election. It didn't really cost her the election. She was going to lose anyways. Okay?
Balancing life can be a challenge. From precious family time to the demand.
Well, immigration is a top issue among voters, especially in border states like Texas. Recent changes in the Biden administration's policies have resulted in fewer illegal crossings. Yet critics argue that some of those changes could encourage more arrivals. Well, CBN's Tara Mergener reports from McAllen, Texas.
As the sun sets over the Rio Grande, the Texas-Mexico border appears peaceful. Once the major hotspot for illegal crossings, the situation has changed due to Texas spending billions toward aggressive border enforcement, from barbed wire and floating buoys to the National Guard.
If you cross in Texas, you will be prosecuted.
While illegal immigration is down overall in Texas, the numbers show many migrants are rerouting to other states, often with smugglers, due to Governor Greg Abbott's enhanced border security.
Border officials say that means more crossings in neighboring states like Arizona, New Mexico, and California.
Most of it is cartel. If you pay the cartel to get across, they're taking you up north because it's easier for them.
Biden administration executive orders aimed at streamlining asylum requests have also reduced the number of dangerous crossings and expedited deportations.
I'm announcing actions to bar migrants who cross our southern border unlawfully. Migrants will be restricted from...
That makes no sense. You open the border and now you're going to bar unlawfully. Ah, come on, man. Like, you left the border open for years. Millions came in. You can't want to plug it now. We don't need you to plug it right now. It's too late.
Receiving asylum at our southern border unless they seek it after entering through an established lawful process.
In August, 58,000 migrants entered the U.S., down from a record 250,000 in December. That's a 68% drop compared to a year ago.
While the Biden administration touts a recent drop in illegal border crossings, critics argue they don't tell the whole story. They claim new legal pathways for migrants don't reduce overall migration, but instead encourage more arrivals and further complicate border security.
Absolutely.
The traffic and people coming into the pipeline has not abated under the executive order. The Biden administration for quite some time now has been using the parole system to let people make an appointment on CBP One app and fly into the country, so effectively flying over the border.
The CBP One system helps
Literally. How are you letting them fly in? Like, you flood the border, you let in millions, and then you're letting hundreds of thousands more fly in. That's just crazy
That's
to me.
about 50,000
Get outta
asylum
here.
seekers monthly, with more than 800,000 migrants
Wow.
paroled into the U.S. since its launch last year. Millions remain waiting for appointments.
This traveler feature is now live on CBP1.
Humanitarian parole programs also allow legal entry for tens of thousands each month from designated crisis countries, unlike regular parole, which is case specific.
It's like the U.S. government is completing the smuggling process.
Pretty
They're gaming
much.
the system, and
This is what our security officers are saying. Like, we're just inviting them in. You know what I mean? And if Kamala Harris had become president, it would have been on a white scare versus. It wouldn't have changed. It would have gotten worse. She would have said all the right things to get elected, and once she got elected, boom.
they're skewing the numbers, so it looks like immigration's down when it's actually not down at all.
We see what happens in New York. We saw what happened in Springfield, Ohio, Aurora, Colorado. That impact is being felt regardless of what the level of traffic at the border is.
We reached out to the White House about these concerns and are still awaiting a response. Meanwhile, agents also point out the flow of dangerous drugs into the U.S.
See all of
has
that?
not stopped.
Look at
So
that.
far this year, border authorities report seizing at least 10,000 pounds of fentanyl.
Yep.
Still bring dope to the river.
And that's just what they're finding. Because if they're seizing 10,000 pounds of drugs, imagine what they're not finding. Because the cartel is not gonna just lose the majority of drugs. They'll let some go to let more pass through. If they're losing, if the CBP is finding 10,000 pounds of fentanyl, think about how deadly fentanyl is. Like, you can touch that stuff and not even know you touch it and put it in your nose, and that can kill you. That is how dangerous fentanyl is. Like, you shouldn't even touch it without a glove. You know what I'm saying? And they found 10,000. Oh my God. Like, do you understand the extent to which how bad the border crisis is for our country? Imagine all that fentanyl and drugs that's in the country. And I'm not saying, the drugs can't come in, without the border. Because the cartel is sophisticated. I'm pretty sure they fly it over. They put it into women's stomach, bring it over. They drive trucks across the border, Mexico and other countries. They reroute the drugs from one continent to the next continent to the next continent and get it right here. There's other ways they can do it. But the border just made it easier for them. That's just crazy to me. If you can't see how bad opening the border up is, I'm sorry.
The drug crossings obviously have not slowed down, and we hear it every day, and we see it every day, and the talk about fentanyl, and it's very real.
And they say so is the potential terror threat to the United States, as individuals from more than 160 countries still show up to cross.
You just need one person. Or in the event of 9/11, what was it, 9 people? You don't need many to cause us a lot of problems here in this country.
Problems those on the front lines insist will continue no matter which method migrants choose to get here. In McAllen, Texas, Tara Mergener, CBN News.
Well, Tara's been reporting on this for years and raised the alarm at the beginning of the Biden administration. Then it was 200,000, 300,000 a month. So here we are, getting ready for an election, and suddenly the Biden administration is now concerned about immigration and making, we're going to have executive orders and we're going to change the rules and do all that. The reason it's been slowed down in Texas is because of Governor Abbott.
Greg Abbott.
And here's the kicker on that one. The federal government sued the state of Texas when they tried to enhance their own border.
That's how terrible the Democratic Party is. The governor of Texas cracked down on the illegal immigrants, and the federal government, at the behest of the president and Kamala Harris, tried to sue them. And if that governor didn't stand on his feet, man, that place would have been flooded, especially towards the end of the election, months leading up to the election. Oh, that place would have just been a floodgate. That's how crappy the Democratic Party is.
We can't
Listen to that, what he
handle
just
this
said.
influx of borders, and we're going to change the rules and do all that. The reason it's been slowed down in Texas is because of Governor Abbott. And here's the kicker on that one. The federal government sued the state of Texas when they tried to enhance their own border.
Sued them.
To say we can't handle this influx of immigration.
Try to sue
this
Texas.
is overwhelming us. It's overwhelming our law enforcement. It's overwhelming housing. It's overwhelming all our social services. We have to put a stop to it. And the federal government sued them and said, you can't do that. This whole issue is mind-boggling to me, because when you add 9 million people to our country, what does that mean? What does that mean for employment? What does that
Thank
mean
you.
for?
I said
are
that.
they going to be taxpayers?
Yep.
They've come illegally? Are they now going to live lawfully? What's that going to do to the rental market? You have 9 million new people that need housing. Is that going to drive up the housing cost? But the strain on social services, I mean, you're hearing it from the city of Chicago, and those are Democrats. You're hearing it from the city of New York. Those are Democrats. They're saying you've got to make this stop. It's become unmanageable. I don't understand the end game. Why in the world would you allow 9 million people in here illegally?
I
This
don't
doesn't
understand
make any
end game
sense to me.
either.
And I've said repeatedly, if you don't enforce your borders, you're no longer really a country.
True.
You've got to maintain citizenship. You have to maintain certain rights for social services that the taxpayers are paying for. You just can't have a welcome sign on your southern border and everybody come and participate in the wonders of America. It doesn't work, and it doesn't work long time. It's
I just want, so before I end the live, I just want, like I said, I felt like the border was the reason why they lost. It wasn't the only reason, but it was the main reason why they lost. Americans are concerned, they were sick of it, and they didn't want it anymore. They didn't want to be paying their taxes and have the government saying, oh, when you get to a certain age, you're not going to have any Social Security. But yet still, you're giving billions to immigrants coming into our country and Ukraine. Ukraine is a border issue also. Just to think about it, it's across the border. Our money is leaving our country to another border, supporting them. And then we have the influx of immigrants from across the world putting a strain on our country. It's still a border issue. Okay? So listen to this again, what this gentleman says. That's what I said at the beginning of the live. I just kind of switched on this channel. I didn't even know what this guy was going to talk about. But listen.
Are they going to be taxpayers? Our law enforcement, it's overwhelming housing, it's overwhelming all our social services. We have to put a stop to it. And the federal government sued them and said, you can't do that. This whole issue is mind-boggling to me, because when you add 9 million people to our country, what does that mean? What does that mean for employment? What does that mean for, are they going to be taxpayers? They've come illegally? Are they now going to live lawfully? What's that going to do to the rental market? You have 9 million new people that need housing. Is that going to drive up the housing cost? But the strain on social services, I mean, you're hearing it from the city of Chicago, and those are Democrats. You're hearing it from the city of New York. Those are Democrats. They're saying you've got to make this stop. It's become unmanageable. I don't understand the end game. Why in the world would you allow 9 million people in here illegally? It just doesn't make any sense to me.
No
And I've said repeatedly, if you don't enforce your borders, you're no longer really a country.
Absolutely.
You've got to maintain citizenship. You have to maintain certain rights for social services that the taxpayers are paying for. You just can't have a welcome sign on your southern border and everybody come and participate in the wonders of America. It doesn't work, and it doesn't work long time. It's amazing to me, the doublespeak now, but that's, I guess,
All right, guys. So that's pretty much gonna do it for the live, guys. I hope you guys, learned a few things. I'm constantly doing research. I'm constantly looking for new articles, reading, what people don't see. So when I do come on here, I'm not just pulling stuff out of my ass. I'm actually doing research. A little bit about me. I have a master's in political science and criminal justice, so I know a little bit about what I'm saying. I wish all the best for all immigrants that are coming here seeking asylum. I really do. I wish our country was open enough where all these immigrants could come here, fall into jobs, live respectable, law-abiding lives, and contribute to the United States and make it even greater than what it is. But in reality, that's not how it works. A lot of those people that you see on the screen, they're not all law-abiding citizens. They're drug dealers. As you can see at the end of the video, they seized just this year 10,000 pounds of fentanyl. 10,000 pounds of fentanyl. That could kill half the population of the United States. Think about that. And that's just what they found. Not to mention what got in. Okay? And the ramifications it's going to have on our society, like for the next few years. Because that fentanyl is going to hit the streets. And it's going to fatten the pockets of Mexican, cartels. I just hope that once President Biden settles in, he's going to take care of, that Mexican border. And I hope he sanctions Mexico to police the border. Because if I was them, to be honest with you, I'm not taking on all that strain of policing the border. Force Mexico to have their law enforcement on the border, on their side of the border, policing it. All right, force the Mexican government to put more pressure on the cartels. Literally push pressure on them. And if they don't do it, then we're gonna send in the United States Army. Because the cartels, listen, freeze bank accounts, send back home, relatives. Just like how they did with Russia, freeze bank accounts. Who these drug dealers are. They know who they are, the cartel members are. Freeze all the bank accounts, seize all assets, both foreign, Mexico, and in the United States. The United States have the power to do it. And I think that, honestly, that the Mexican cartel, that their days are numbered. You know what I mean? I think once President Trump is the president, they're not going to take all that, you're shooting at border agents. Nah, they're not going to take that. If they keep it up, they're going to anger this man. And, President Trump will go in. He will put his foot down. And, honestly, the cartel in Mexico is no threat for the United States. If we want to go in and wipe them out and let them live underground, there would be no threat for President Trump. All he has to do is a wave of the pen, and he can handle them. So, cartel members, you guys should, chill out. All right, just chill out, back off, cut back on the drugs. If I was a cartel member, I say, you know what? We made a lot of money. Let's back off. Let's step back. You know what I mean? Because Trump, I don't think we can handle him. He's not a pushover like Biden or Harris. Let's just back away. You know what I mean? Let's leave this country alone. We made billions and billions of dollars over the years. Let's not push the envelope. Anyway, guys, I thank you guys for joining the stream. I appreciate you guys spending your evening with me. Guys, hitting that subscribe button is free. And, I appreciate you guys for coming. I wish you guys all the best. I give praise to the Lord Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior. I praise the Holy Spirit, and every day I ask for discernment. I pray for discernment for everybody that watched this video. Thank you guys for watching. If you can, subscribe, like, and share the video. One love.